She had seen distress in those eyes. She turned away, dried her hands hurriedly, and slipped on her flip-flops. She would go gently, raise no challenge about her being in their garden, but say hello and try to find out what was the matter. Maybe if she pointed out that her mother would be worrying where she was, she could persuade the girl to let her take her home. But when she stepped outside, the child was gone. Sam and Cara were playing just as before, but there was no sign of the girl. Sam had appropriated Cara's watering can and was pouring water into a large hole, while Cara squatted beside him, watching. They were both safe and showed no interest, at least for the moment, in following the girl wherever she had gone. Rosie ran her eyes along the overgrown borders once more, looking for any evidence of an exit route, a path beaten through the long clumps of couch grass, or branches of shrubs bent or broken where she had crawled through. But all seemed exactly as it had been. Well, there must be a gap somewhere, Rosie thought. Maybe a gap that the children in the row used as a shortcut to get the run of all the gardens. There had to be some thin path through the overgrown tangle at the far end that she had overlooked, or loose slats behind one of the border shrubs that spilt unruly onto the tussocky lawn, dark masses of euphorbia, standard roses rambling and tangling, and lavender grown leggy off old wood. "Who was that girl who came to play?" she asked Sam. Sam was engrossed in scraping earth from the sides of the hole down into it and chopping at the sludgy mixture with his spoon. "What girl?" he said without lifting his head. "The girl who was over there near Cara." Rosie gestured towards the clump of daisies. "Didn't she speak to you?" "No?" Sam said, frowning as he dug. "No, she didn't speak to you, or no, you didn't see her?" "No girl," Sam said emphatically. Rosie sat back on her heels and watched her son as he dug and mixed, his face set into a bullish expression that suggested she would get no further. Before the events of the last few months, he had always been a sociable child, keen to play with other children, and cooperative, chatty even. Now she often found herself uncertain, unable to get through to him as he lost himself in solitary games, or refused to do what he was told, or even to answer her. He swung between periods of clingy dependency and periods of blank withdrawal. It was no surprise to Rosie that he either could not, or would not, tell her about the girl. His little ordinary world had been jarred and jumbled, caught up in the hurricane of grown-ups' problems. She sighed and scrambled to her feet. "It's no good asking you, is it, Cara Mara?" she said, patting her on the head. Cara looked up at her with a beaming smile, holding 2 fistfuls of mud towards her. "Lovely," Rosie said. "Do not put it in your mouth, Munchkin. We'll get you washed up in a minute." She set off around the garden to find the gap in the fence that she must have missed on her first brief exploration. She examined the fence behind the borders first, parting the branches of shrubs and peering through thickets of roses that had turned to brambles. No holes. She worked her way around the huge mulberry tree to the bottom of the garden, trampling a path as far as she could through the nettles, and poking the clothes prop through the yards of undergrowth to test the strength of the fence, slat by slat. She could only conclude that it was all intact. The wooden door in the right-hand corner was solid, and the padlock sound. There were no holes where the wood had rotted through, no planks that had come loose, no sections or corners with gaps left in between. No way in. Returning to the clump of Michaelmas daisies, she stood, sucking the back of her hand where a briar had caught her and left a scratch dotted with tiny beads of blood. She looked yet again at the fence behind it, stared at the knots in the wood and the runs in the creosote, dropped her eyes to the patch of grass where the child had been, as if she expected her footprints still to be stamped upon the green. She stared blankly at plantains and buttercups in the turf. There was a squeal of rage from Sam as Cara, finally losing interest in the fascinating